Welcome everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about and discussing one of the most common mistakes that I see in my coaching sessions that I do with my clients from the Mid Lane Academy. And this is going to be ranging across all of the ranks. And more likely than not, you are also making this exact mistake. So the mistake is a little bit of a mindset issue in the sense that the clients they know the underlying fundamentals, they know what they want to do, but they're not actually able to translate that into game. So I've got 3 examples for you lined up right here in which we're going to be discussing what these mistakes are and why this leads to such massive changes in the actual game and how it really paints the picture of a game that can be a difference maker between either winning or losing that particular game. So in this particular example, right, we see that we're playing Taliyah versus Xerath. This is a Taliyah versus Xerath game. And what does this mean, right? Taliyah versus Xerath, control mage versus control mage. It's really important to get the push. And it's really important that for Taliyah, you want to be utilizing your push to get control of one side of the map, play with your jungle, and get stuff done, create man advantages. That's Taliyah in a nutshell. So what it boils down to is that this Taliyah player is not playing with that mindset. This guy is playing fully with the mindset to kill and end this Xerath's career. And he's doing an okay job at that. Like, he's taking some trades, like he's winning the war of attrition. Yes, he's got some lane control, and it doesn't initially look that bad, right? Here you can see there's a lot of trading going on. Right, we land ourselves a nice little queue. It looks like we're completely dominating and shitting onto the Xerath. Great. Right? Great stuff. Nice. We're shitting on the Xerath. But what's happening in the meantime is that actually there's this massive skirmish happening on bot in which that our jungle 3v3s the enemy bot plus jungle. And Xerath actually gets an ult off. And what happens in the end is that his team dies, his team loses the skirmish, and this leads to eventually this game spiraling out of control because Taliyah cannot 1v9 in this particular game because the enemies got Skarner, they got a lot of tanks. It's really hard for Taliyah to deal with them. So if we look tie this back towards Taliyah's identity, what should she do is she should recognize that her jungle is actually fully clearing towards bot lane right here, and that there's going to be a little bit of a fight breaking out right here, especially with Janna showing up so deep. So our mindset should be fully on, hey, get the push right here so we can hover in case something happens. That's what our champion does best. But because we're playing with this mindset to fully nuke this Xerath right here and end this guy's career, as I said before, we're in this position where we're not really playing towards what our champion wants to do. And therefore also we're kind of just flipping the rest of the map. So it really boils down towards, in this case, can you as Taliyah carry the game versus potential other stuff happening on the map? It'd be much easier if you just push this wave, move down, make it a 4v3, and if you can get a 4v3, you can win the skirmish, get yourself some free kills, and then you're rock and rolling back into the game again. I've got some more examples lined up. Let's take a look at those as well. So this second example was from Silvercline, and this is an Anivia player. And as you can see, he's incredibly far ahead. His team is also ahead. They're in a great position. What we also see is that our team made a kill on to the enemy bot side right here, and Dragon's up. What does Anivia want to do to win the game? Well, the way that Anivia wins the game is by getting mid control, calling for neutral objectives, being first at those neutral objectives, and actually looking to control choke points with her incredible zone and choke control. With her ult, her W, she can make it really hard for people to enter, and therefore if she's first and if the enemies are running into her, she's going to be in a fantastic position in which she can set herself up for some great fights and eventually objectives leading to win the game. What this Anivia player does is he actually decides to fight the Smolder on mid. A little bit of trading is not it's not necessarily a problem. It's rather the way that these trades are actually being occupied. In this case, he's really trying to end this Smolder's career. He's really trying to kill him. Look how deep that he's playing. He's not brute forcing a mistake from Smolder. No, he's just trying to consistently just ram his face into the Smolder and kill him. And what happens is that he loses his egg, he loses his flash. It puts him in a position where he just doesn't want to be in. Because when you're 3-0, you don't have to kill this guy again because you already got the lane control. You're already ahead of this guy. A kill is not going to lead us to win the game suddenly, but these objectives actually are. So what should he do in this particular case? Well, he should actually just fully nuke this wave, avoid the smolder, let him farm in a tower, start up the dragon, get yourself a free objective. Because those objectives is eventually what our champion is going to allow to win the game. We can utilize those objectives as magnets, control the choke points, and let the enemies come in. So I got the question after he sent me this question for like, what do I do here? Why is this not going the way I want? And I said, well, this is how Anivia works. This is what we want to be doing. And then I got this question from him, which was very interesting. He said to me, how do I show the enemies that I am better than them then? And that question stuck with me for a second, because that really made me realize that if that is your mindset, right? If you are looking to just kill this guy over and over and over again, you're so tunnel visioned. And of course it makes sense that you lose track of everything else in the game. And yes, you may be ending this guy's career. Great stuff, right? Very nice. But in most cases, you'll actually lose the game because of it. And what's the best way to show that you're better than the opponent? Winning the game. In the end, it's all about winning the game. And therefore, we got to ask ourselves the question, what actions are actually leading towards us winning the game? And this is where it ties back into the most common mistake that I see, is that people have this mindset that I need to kill the enemy to win. Killing the enemy equals win. That's not true at all, right? Killing the enemy can be good. It can be fantastic because the kills can lead to something. In that case, either lane control, pressure. It can lead towards objectives. And that's the thing that's going to win you the game. Not the kill in isolation. It's the fact that you get strong, or that you get tempo, or you get possibilities on the map because you get the kill, not the kill itself. And that's what a lot of people start to like. That link is not there in their system. So this next example is from a master tier Jace player, and this particular client, right? He has a lot of issues when it comes to slowing down his aggression. Like, this guy is out for blood every single time. And I'm going to be honest, right? His mechanics, his micro are very good, right? And that's definitely something that is carrying him throughout his games. And that's also the reason why he's master tier. But there's so much besides that he's not like really internalizing, because he's so focused on killing this guy and beating this guy in the 1v1 and trying to kill this guy, that he loses track of the rest of the game. In this particular example, his Nocturne just died at the enemy waves. Sometimes that happens. Hey, can happen. Nothing wrong with it, right? Game is still in a completely fine position. What we also see happening is that our wave state is now crashing and pushing into Ahri. We also see the Nunu right there on the minimap resetting. What we do, right, is we decide to harass Ahri under the turret. We lose vision on the Nunu, and what we do is we try to just completely end this Ahri's career onto every single one of these caster means. And what he forgets is that Ahri has R and has the gank setup, and that we lost vision over the Nunu, in the sense that he's under a lot of gank setup, and this death ruined him. It completely ruins him right here, because this death leads to a massive tempo loss right here. Even though we have TP, this Ahri kind of gets built out of a little bit tricky position in the lane. And this also puts this Nocturne now in a position where both Nocturne and Jace are permanently off tempo, which means that neither is able to do anything. Look what Nocturne just did. Nocturne spotted this particular situation happening. He roamed mid and he wasted all of his time because of this particular play happening. What we should have done instead was, as Jace, is we should actually just, I think it's fine to look for a bit of a QE onto Ahri. But since the fact that we don't have full information and the enemy gank threat plus setup is so incredibly high that we have to respect it, I think this QE is all we can get. So after this QE, we back off. We get a nice little ward on top side, because that's where the grips are spawning. That's where we have our strong side in the Quinn winning versus the Wukong. Bot lane's losing a bit. So we can potentially look for the grips right here with the lane control and the good trade that we just took. Plus the ward that we can place that is going to secure the area a little bit and put us in a much safer and higher percentage position. But in this case, right, he was trying to end this Ahri's career, looking to get min-max every bit of damage that then leads him to die. Which puts the game in like a terrible, terrible position, of course. So, to conclude this, right, what would be my recommendations moving forward? And also, how can this be applicable to everyone else here that's watching this video? I think the main thing that we have to understand is that winning games does not equal killing the enemies. And I think that's the biggest mindset issue that I'm seeing. A lot of people think if I dominate this guy hard enough, I will win the game. I will win the game. But most of the times that's actually not true. Winning solo queue games is actually more about, hey, I need to get strong myself. And with getting strong yourself, you're going to be ahead of the curve compared to all of the other lanes. And you can then utilize that strength at these objective fights, at the big fights that matter, because in that case, the kills are going to be turning into objectives and ways to progress the game. That's really how winning games in solo queue works. What happens if you fully play with the mindset to like shit on the enemy laner? What's going to happen is that you are going to lose minions, you're going to lose resources, you're going to lose stuff yourself because you're so focused on ending this guy's career. So the enemy's champion is going to be weaker, but you are also going to be objectively weaker, which means that if you look at this in the big picture of the game, yes, the enemy champ may be weaker, but that doesn't mean that you can now carry the game. It's actually the opposite, because you're also weaker yourself because you didn't focus on the proper things, which means that now you're in a position that you are going to be facing off against this 2-item Wukong on top side, while you're only 1.5 items, and guess what? You're going to get absolutely one-shot, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's only because you are not ahead of the curve. So for mid lane, most of the time, solo kills don't happen that often because mid lane is such a short lane. So brute forcing solo kills is actually not that easy. And the way that you want to envision mid lane especially is through the lens of, hey, if you can get mid prio, that's how you can turn your advantage over your lane into different parts of the map. You can utilize your mid prio to get roams off on side lanes. You can utilize your mid prio to get objectives going. And that's going to put you in a position that you can really start taking leads in the game. Maybe even vision setup, so you spot the enemy jungle deep, so the side lanes have an easier time navigating where the enemy jungle is, knowing and managing their aggression. That's really the victories, the small wins that count on mid lane. And of course, trades and kills can lead to stuff, absolutely. If you get the opportunity to kill the enemy champion, 100% do it, but don't brute force it. It's not your main goal to kill the enemy champion. Your main goal is to win the game. And the way that you do that is by taking control of your lane, and that's all you need. And you can then translate that into different parts of the map. That's how mid lane really works. So if you guys have any questions about this, let me know. I'm happy to elaborate, give you guys some feedback or anything like that. And yeah, if you guys want to get coaching by me, there's going to be a link in the description to the Mid Lane Academy. That's going to be a video for today. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys real soon with some more content.